Welcome back to my Kickstarter for Authors crash course. My name is Kayla Ann and I am here to teach you how to launch a successful Kickstarter. Before we go online and start putting our Kickstarter campaign together, I want to just take a step back and talk to you about timeline. Let's make sure that you actually have enough space to do this campaign and to do it well. I will say, there are many different ways and many different timelines to launch a successful Kickstarter. I am not saying that mine is the best way. I am simply saying that this is the best way that I personally have learned how to launch a Kickstarter. I recommend that you allow yourself 9 months total from when you start learning about Kickstarter all the way until your release date. For instance, I would encourage you, give yourself at least 1 month just to do Kickstarter training. So watching these videos, reading things online, watching other campaigns, going to that Kickstarter for Authors Facebook page, all of that. Give yourself at least a month just to get familiar with the system and what you plan on doing. Then give yourself another month dedicated solely to building your campaign. Now, you're not going to be building your entire campaign and making it perfect in 1 month. What you're trying to do is just get the bare bones or the skeleton of your campaign so that you can submit it to Kickstarter so that they can approve it for pre-launch. And I'm going to talk more about that in later videos. Then you're going to get into this pre-launch stage. Ideally, you want to be there for a minimum of 3 months. You run a pre-launch page to get people interested in your campaign and to have them sign up so that they'll be notified when you launch. I'm actually currently in the middle of a 6-month pre-launch stage and I would recommend it. I currently have, I think it was around like 200 followers, so 200 people will be notified the day that I launch. So you want to have a decent time dedicated to that pre-launch stage where you're talking about your Kickstarter, where you're getting people interested and they're able to go and sign up to get notified. At bare minimum, I wouldn't recommend anything less than 3 months. Now, of course, that's completely up to you and based on how much of an audience you're able to pull in and how quickly, but from personal experience, I would say at least a minimum of 3 months in the pre-launch stage. Then you're going to actually launch your campaign. This is going to take you somewhere around a month. Some campaigns are 14 days, some campaigns are 60 days. I did a 21-day campaign, but on average, give yourself a month dedicated to just being involved in the launching of your Kickstarter, so running your campaign. Now, after that month or whatever it is, you're going to need time to fulfill your campaign. You're going to need to order books. You're going to need to ship books. You're going to need to spray edges or annotate pages or put in swag or do all these different things. Allow yourself at least 3 months after your campaign ends and before your release date. So if you're trying to decide when you should launch, make sure that you are still giving yourself that gap between the end of your campaign and your release date to work on campaign fulfillment. This is my pre-launch Kickstarter timeline template, which is going to be included in my Kickstarter Starter Kit ebook. If you are interested in that, you can sign up for that pre-order interest form, which you can find on my Instagram page. You could fill out this template in 2 ways. I'm going to recommend that you work your way backward from your projected release date. So let's say that I know that I want to release my book on 7/1. Okay, I know that I need to give myself at least 3 months to be working on campaign fulfillment. So I know that I'm going to start fulfilling my campaign, meaning ordering my books, my swag, putting everything together on 4/1, which means that I'm probably going to launch my Kickstarter about a month before that, which means that I'm launching 3/1 or around that date. I also know that I want to have it 3 months in my pre-launch time, which means that I need to get my pre-launch page up around 12/1. And then I need to give myself another month before that to be building the campaign. So that's 11/1 and another month to begin my Kickstarter training, 10/1. Meaning that if I wanted to release a book in July 1st, then I would want to actually start my training in October of the previous year. Now, yes, the more that you do Kickstarter, the less time that you need for certain steps. And some people might say that this timeline is way too long. Some people might say this timeline is way too short. But this is what I have found works for myself. By giving myself an adequate amount of time, I can make sure that I am setting up the best campaign, that I am spreading the word, that I am getting people interested, so that when I do actually launch my Kickstarter, I already have followers who are ready to go from that pre-launch date. I also make sure that I have tons of time in my campaign so that if anything unexpected comes up, any shipping delays, anything along those lines, my backers are still getting their rewards mostly before that release date, because part of Kickstarter is that your backers get their rewards earlier than the general public. Let's say that you are re-releasing something where that release date, it doesn't really affect you as much, then you can work from the beginning to the end. For instance, let's say that you're starting your Kickstarter training right now, or maybe you started a couple weeks ago when these videos began. So you started in 3/10. Okay, well, give yourself until the beginning of April or maybe the middle of April to start building your campaign, especially when my videos come out to help you do that. Then you're hopefully going to get your project approved and into the pre-launch stage sometime in May. You want to be in that pre-launch stage for several months, let's say the minimum of 3, which means that you're probably going to launch your Kickstarter sometime in August. You're going to run that for about a month, which means that your campaign is going to end somewhere around September, and give yourself 3 months. But I will say you don't want to be fulfilling in December because shipping is horrendous around Christmas. So you'd rather be making sure everything was shipped out by January. Many authors have reported that there are different months that tend to do well in Kickstarter, where campaigns tend to fund better. For some reason, kind of the spring, like March, April, May, they tend to do better than, say, the holidays, November, December, when people are spending their money on Christmas gifts, or in January, where everyone just spent a bunch of money, they don't have money to spend. So there are some months that tend to do better than other months. But that's not always set in stone. For instance, July is not considered a great month to launch. And yet, when I launched my first campaign, I got $11,000 funded. So there's not hard and fast rules, but it is something that you might want to consider as you are setting up your campaign timeline. So for your homework, go get out your calendars and try to figure out, what does your campaign timeline look like? Look at your release day and work your way backward from then. At what point do you need to have that pre-launch page up? Remember, you're aiming for a minimum of a 3-month period for that pre-launch page, and hopefully longer as you're trying to garner interest and get people to sign up to be notified on the launch date itself. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, if this was helpful for you, you can help me by liking, saving, sharing, and of course, commenting below. See you next time, class.